Okay, we are going to be working on an outside deck floral arrangement. As you can see, we've got a variety of succulents. We got a glue gun. We got clippers. We may or may not use these wood pieces. We've got our bowl. We're going to glue things down with wood glue. We've got some Sahara, some mosses, and we needed to create some height in this bowl. So the way we did that was we actually used a couple of dishes that we were going to get rid of. They're a couple cat dishes, and we're going to use those to raise that up, and we're going to glue those down first. Okay, so the first thing we've done is glue down the two bowls that are going to hold the flower arrangement up a little bit. Next, we're going to be putting in the Sahara, and we're going to build it to what, about an inch below the surface, Ma?
Yeah, I'd say that'd be right.
Okay. We'll put the circle in, and then we're going to use all of the remaining kind of square to help build it up. Probably use a combination of the other glue and some hot glue here. Okay, so we need to build up under the next layer of foam. She's cut the foam into little thin squares. We're going to lay those on top, but we needed to fill up underneath so we didn't have to fill the whole thing with foam. So we actually used a bunch of grocery store sacks. So we have now glued down all the pieces of Sahara we're going to use. Okay, the next step is to put these draping pieces in. So these are kind of our longer flowers that are going to drape over the edge, succulents that are going to drape over the edge. We have 5 pieces. I have 3 of this kind of flowering one that hangs over the edge and 2 of the others. So you can see we've got kind of in a clock formation, right? You got 3 and then 2 off center. Okay, she's adding a little bit of glue to stabilize this to the end of the plant, and then she is pushing the stem down into the Sahara. So when we were putting in the stems, we noticed that the Sahara is really thin, right? We cut it to fit. It's very thin, and it was pulling up. So we decided to add some weight to it. We used some of the rocks from the backyard, some pea gravel and some kind of medium-sized rocks to help weigh down the plastic bags as well as the Sahara. We just created the center of the arrangement. We used, again, an odd number, 3 different but very large succulents right here in the center. So you can see we've got the edges starting to fill, and we've built the center. And then we'll work to fill in now the gaps. We've laid some more back in, and we actually decided to do little groups of 2 in each of the pie shapes that are left. So you got 2 of these that we're going to layer in this section. 2 of these little red ones we're going to layer in there. We got 2 of those that we're going to layer in there. And then you got 2 of these really pretty little blue ones that we're going to layer in there as we start to fill in the pie. We did lay in these little airy ones. These are just kind of fillers. And then after that, we will fill in with moss as well as some more rock. But you can see the shape starting to come together. Now we've anchored down all of the middle pieces, and you're still going to see some pretty decent gaps. But you can see that the shape is really filling out. And we are going to next add moss to cover all of the Sahara, and probably, as you can see, we're aggressively lifting up kind of around the plants or moving the plants to the side and pushing in some glue and some moss. We've started using some chopsticks to push down the moss so we don't burn our fingers. As you can see, she's adding some glue and pushing the moss in to help it hold. As you can see, we've pushed a lot of really interesting moss in various colors into the bottom of the bowl to cover up any of the Sahara that you would see. I went and got a few more rocks that I'm going to add, and then I think we're finished. Okay, so here's the finished product. You can see the rocks peeking out and a lot of color through the succulents. And you may ask why in my backyard I chose to use the faux succulents Couple reasons. I had a live one on my table about a year ago, and I left it out in the winter, and they die in Utah. The second reason is you can't get this variety in color in the other, and I have to remember to water them. So I created some of these for my hosting table, and they look beautiful. So I decided to replace the one that I killed with a faux version. I think it looks stunning out here on our patio travertine table.